than last year. Orlando with the huge trade in December to bring over Hedo Turkoglu, Jason Richardson, Gilbert Arenas, gone Rashard Lewis, Marcin Gortat.
Michael Petras,
gone, Vince Carter. So two different teams, and Atlanta playing with a lot of confidence. Very impressive to go out and get a road game, game one in this series. And we'll see if they can hold court here tonight.
A series, to be honest, where before it, not many people were giving Atlanta a real chance, questioning their urgency, sometimes their effort, their energy, but they have played hard in the first two games. Orlando in blue, Atlanta in white. Josh Smith concedes the opening tip to Dwight Howard, so the Magic get the first possession of the game.
Two former teammates here in the Atlanta area growing up as kids. I guess he knew better.
Yeah, Dwight Howard from the Atlanta area. And here's a turnover and a foul. Turkoglu.
You hate to start off your first possession with a turnover. This Atlanta team, and to a fault, really needs great plays to get themselves going. You got to keep this team out of transition. No lobs, no dunks. Keep this crowd at bay, because they really do feed off that here at home.
And in the half court, Larry Drew wants to see a lot of people getting touches, not isolation plays with one guy dribbling and four guys standing around watching. Al Horford, a big key, got an early foul trouble in game two, was not a factor at all in the first half. Kirk Heinrich. Even Stan Van Gundy, the coach of Orlando, says that was one of the best pickups that any team made this season. The Atlanta Hawks getting Kirk Heinrich, taking over for Mike Bibby at the point guard spot.
Well, and every member of the Hawks will tell you the same, including Coach Larry Drew. This guy's been phenomenal for them. A tough guy, defensively, can guard ones, twos, threes, capable of knocking down big shots, but he's got the leadership qualities that this Hawks team sorely needs.
Defends the pick and roll well. Josh Smith called for the foul. Nelson from the elbow, a little bit short. Dwight Howard had a finger on it, but Josh Smith comes up with it for Atlanta.
Orlando 20 offensive rebounds in game two. A big reason why they won that ball game.
Look at Horford with a mismatch. Jameer Nelson draws the double team. Heinrich again. And the putback is there for Horford. A great start for the Hawks. What a huge key Horford is, especially at the 4 spot, guarding a guy like Brandon Bass instead of playing center but guarding Dwight Howard.
Well, much more comfortable at the 4 spot as Turkoglu misses the corner 3.
Watch the physical stuff between Howard and Jason Collins underneath the rim.
Well, you talked about the size of the Hawks, and that's been giving the Orlando Magic fits, particularly their guards. A lot of contested shots at that 3-point line as Richardson puts it on the deck and gets an easy one.
How much of a key is Jason Richardson for Orlando?
Oh, I think he's huge. He's been their best shot maker all season long. A great spot up 3-point shooter in transition in the half court. Got to get himself going, shooting just 25% in the series.
Smith defended by Turkoglu. And Atlanta fortunate to get it back. Johnson, shot clock running down, but not an issue as he lobs it up for Horford. 2 early baskets for Al Horford.
A good find there by Joe Johnson. Kind of a broken play. Brandon Bass took off on the offensive end, leaving Horford open for the easy lob.
So the Hawks are energized early. The crowd is energized early, which is not always a given here in Atlanta.
No, they're energized for the visiting team normally, Dan.
A lot of Knicks fans and Celtic fans when those teams come here.
Absolutely. As Turkoglu misses another shot.
Discouraging for a player to play in front of him, right?
Joe Johnson made some comments about his hometown fans last year in the playoffs. Al Horford had an incident this season. A very fickle sports town here in Atlanta.
Horford feeling it early. Gets the roll. 6 early points for Horford. He's fired up.
I never questioned this guy's toughness. He just bogarted Brandon Bass into the basket and would not be denied.
You've always gotten the feeling if he had spent the last 5 years as a power forward instead of a center, who knows what this guy, what the limit would be for him. Right?
Back-to-back All-Star seasons. He's the leader of this team.
Dwight Howard on the board. 79 points in the first 2 games for Howard. With the Hawks again deciding not to double team him, guarding the 3-point line and accepting the fact that Howard's going to get his.
Well, how about the offensive repertoire? Just amazing what he's been able to do as we see Horford here take his time, face up, goes to the left. Just steps out of bounds slightly underneath, but great strength there to score over Bass.
First foul on Jason Richardson.
Horford 2 early fouls in game 2. Really didn't play much in that first half, as Josh Smith misses the 3.
Richardson, nice look ahead for Bass, and forces his way up to the rim. Good strong move by Brandon Bass.
Touche. You push me around, I'll push you around. Just cleared Horford out.
Turkoglu knocks it away. Atlanta took 3 out of 4 from Orlando during the regular season. They're very confident heading into this series. Stan Van Gundy with an early pained expression on his face here as he stalks the sideline for the Orlando Magic, although he was in great spirits this morning.
That look will not go away for the next 2.5 hours, trust me. What a great coach. He really does a terrific job.
Heinrich puts it on the deck. Stripped by Nelson. Smith puts it in.
Atlanta getting all the bounces here early. They are the aggressors, and a lot of times, if you are the aggressor, those balls just seem to bounce your way.
Nelson is tripped. And the foul on Heinrich. Nelson had a big first game in this series, 27 points, and then played through a migraine in the second game, scoring 13 points, apparently back to 100% tonight.
Now, the only other player other than Dwight Howard to shoot over 40%. I mean, just shocking numbers that you see. One of the best shooting teams in the NBA with the numbers that some of these guys are putting up.
Howard trying to spin on Collins. A little bit of help there from Johnson. Now back down to Howard. And the foul called on Jason Collins. Reaching in from the top, Leon Wood, the official says.
Well, I think Howard did lose his balance, but Collins decided to reach anyway. You see Howard's going to fall here, and there's really no need to strike down on him. But good call there by Leon Wood.
Crowd getting a look at the replay, of course, thinking that Collins got all ball on that play. We'll see Collins, we'll see Zaza Pachulia, Josh Powell, Hilton Armstrong, maybe Horford at times, all trying to guard Howard.
Keep
Nelson,
your phone on it. Keep your phone on. They might call you.
One of the big things for Orlando, too, is Howard's doing a good job making his free throws. That's a big factor as well. Jason Richardson knocking it down from 3.
Well, Josh Smith got to come out to Jason Richardson. You know that's what he wants, a 3-point shot. He's laid off there. Got to get out and make him put the ball on the ground. But again, offensive rebounding setting it up, which Orlando has killed Atlanta in this series.
Joe Johnson rattles it home.
25 in the first game for Joe. A subpar game in game 2. Just 14. He was 6 of 15. And a guy that just has a tendency to disappear at times.
Second foul on Kirk Heinrich. Less than 6 minutes into the game, and that's going to get Jamal Crawford off the Atlanta bench early.
Well, you certainly gain some offense here, but you lose a lot defensively. Yeah. Kirk Heinrich out of the game. We'll see if Jamal Crawford can play the pick and roll with Jameer Nelson, because he's going to see a heavy dose.
Crawford over 20 points in each of the first 2 games in this series. One of the top 6th men in the NBA year after year. Again, just Howard and Collins.
Oh, wow.
Pretty nice move.
It looks so fluent. It's just amazing the maturation of the offensive game. Spending time with Hakeem Olajuwon this summer. Just a much more confident guy. He's taking jump shots outside the paint, which we never saw in years past. He's making a heck of a case for MVP this season. I know the playoffs don't count, but if they were, he might be the guy.
Atlanta with a 2-point lead as we go to the under 6 media timeout, and it is Al Horford who has really electrified this crowd in the early going, coming out with a lot of fire for the Atlanta Hawks and dominating inside. The Hawks with an early 2-point lead. Barry, let's send it over to Rick Bucher.
Thank you, Dan. You know, the Hawks were well aware that this was a sold-out game, and they were hoping that that would mean that there would be a majority of their fans in the building. They felt that last year when they played Orlando that there were more Magic fans here than Hawks fans. They wanted the kind of support they got against Boston 2 years ago. Josh Smith said to me, if this building is full, loud, and rowdy, it would mean the world to everybody in this locker room. Dan?
Well, John, you live here. You come to a lot of games here. Would you describe this by Atlanta standards as full, loud, and rowdy?
Not quite yet.
A miss by Johnson. It does really mean a lot to the players, right? I mean, they feel it, right?
Absolutely. They feed off this. They feed off transition, lobs, dunks, gets their energy level. And that's a dangerous way to play, particularly when you go on the road.
Turkoglu wide open. Misses the three. Howard is fouled hard by Horford.
Hedo Turkoglu continuing to struggle now. 0 for 3. Nelson 0 for 2. Getting good looks. I mean, there's nothing you can do. You can't drop anything better. Quality looks. We talked to Stan Van Gundy in game 2. He said we had 17 quality three-point shots that we missed. Wide open three-pointers that we didn't knock down.
I'll look at the upcoming schedule in the NBA playoffs. Tomorrow on TNT, a doubleheader. Game 4, Chicago at Indiana. The Bulls are up 3-0. Dallas at Portland, with the Blazers winning last night, so they're on the board trailing 2-1. ESPN with a doubleheader tomorrow night. Game 3, San Antonio at Memphis, and then Oklahoma City at Denver.
How about 70% for Mr. Howard at the line? Maybe not now.
In the first 2 games?
In the first 2 games.
Getting there a ton and making them count.
He got fouled 31 times in the first 2 games of the series. 31.
Took 41 free throws. Jason Collins, who despite starting and getting pretty good minutes in each of the first 2 games, that's his first field goal in this series. And now with Jameer Nelson on the bench, Gilbert Arenas has not been a factor so far. Hedo Turkoglu is the point guard right now for the Orlando Magic. Offensive foul, Dwight Howard. Down, shaken up, Jason Collins.
That foul was offensive.
These two have really been going at it in this series.
Well, terrific defense here. Great positioning. And clearly, Dwight Howard runs right over Jason Collins, who lands on his tailbone. A little sore getting up. But how about his pirouette on the other end? I'll give him a 7.4
wow.
on the pirouette. Great catch down there and finished with the left hand. First basket of the series.
Impressive stuff for Collins, setting the screen here on J.J. Redick. Redick and Ryan Anderson in off the Orlando bench. Crawford steps into a 3. Josh Smith going out of his area for the rebound, and it's going to be Atlanta ball, says Dick Bavetta, as Smith a little bit shaken up.
Well, he had inside position there. It looked like that ball might have went off of Josh Smith, but sometimes if he does get some contact, instead of calling a foul on the opposing team, you just give him the basketball.
Oh, really?
That's what happens.
Really?
Yeah, that does happen.
Johnson with a floater, goaltending on Howard. And he knew it.
Wow,
5-point lead Atlanta.
Holy cow.
Impressive.
He only has 2 blocks in the series. But wow. Well, here's that play with Josh Smith as he comes on the interior. It looks like, you know what? Dwight Howard hits him across the face.
So that's a compromise call, is what you're saying.
Sometimes happens that you just, go ahead and get possession.
Turkoglu driving and laying it in with a left hand. Turkoglu's such a big key tonight, with Gilbert Arenas not physically 100% and really a non-factor to game 2. Stan Van Gundy said this morning he doesn't really know what his backcourt rotation will be. Turkoglu the backup point guard right now, so they need big things from him.
Well, I like that. Take the ball to the basket. You missed 3 jump shots. 2 of them were 3-pointers as Joe Johnson hits the runner. Get yourself an easy one. Take it to the hole, maybe get fouled, see the basketball go in the hoop, and you can feel a lot better about yourself.
Johnson off to a good start. 6 points already. Atlanta leading by 5. Another big screen from Howard. Another drive by Turkoglu, and he draws the foul.
It's surprising Atlanta fighting over that screen. That screen is set out so high. I mean, this screen is almost at the half-court line. It's 28 feet from the basket. You get a screen out there, you need to go under that screen, meet the offensive player on the other side. Don't chase him over. That gives him too much momentum going to the hole, and now you get an easy foul call on Collins.
Turkoglu at the line. You saw Zaza Pachulia getting ready to come in. Jason Collins just picked up his 2nd foul and walking a little bit gingerly over toward the Atlanta bench. And in fact is heading off the bench all the way into the locker room.
Yeah, I think he fell on the tailbone on that charge call with Dwight Howard. Very important that he can. They need 6 fouls out of him. They need him to bang and stay in a ball game as long as he can.
And so your next contestant in the Dwight Howard game tonight is Zaza Pachulia. Who
Come on now.
He'll also give the 6 fouls.
Oh, yes, he will.
Yes, he will.
It will not take him long. Zaza fouls his own players at times.
Dwight Howard, meanwhile, maybe even more impressive than the points and the rebounds in the first 2 games. The minutes, 46 minutes in a game 1 and played all 48 minutes in game 2. Can that continue?
I think so. He said, look, I'm young. I can do this. You know, the only thing, if you're going to nitpick about his play, is his turnovers. He had 15 turnovers in the 2 games combined.
Atlanta shooting 60% in the early going, leading Orlando by 4 here in game 3. Johnson fade away over Richardson. Howard the rebound.
Again, isolation basketball. Saw much too much of that in game 2. Get the ball moving side to side. Don't settle for Joe Johnson isolations.
Marvin Williams covering Turkoglu right now. Turkoglu just throws it up for Howard, who couldn't convert. And back comes Williams.
Charge.
You got it. Let's take a look at the Jason Collins situation when he was shaken up. This is the play where he took the charge and went down hard on his tailbone, as you said, JB.
I think it looked like the tailbone. It's going to be a little sore. I would expect that we see him back. Get some ice on it, then heat it up for the rest of the night. But boy, tomorrow he'll be feeling that.
Look at the battle between Howard and Pachulia, and that's going to be Atlanta ball.
Well, good ball pressure there by Jamal Crawford. You know he's throwing the ball on the post. Stan Van Gundy all over J.J. Redick. You got to get a better angle. Good Atlanta Hawk defense. They've got themselves out to a nice start here in the first quarter. The crowd's waking up, and it's the playoffs, baby.
The Atlanta Hawks have been kind of an up-and-down team this year. They've been blown out a lot at home, don't have a great home record. They're leading here by 4 points late in the first quarter. Inconsistency has been an issue with this team, and Al Horford doesn't disagree.
People are right. You know, I think that our team, you know, it's just up and down. You know, you don't know what you're going to get, and it's frustrating to see it, you know, knowing how good that we can be, and it's frustrating to me. But I think that, you know, guys are more focused in this playoff series, and they want to, you know, they want to make something happen. So I think everyone's really tuned in, and we're excited to be here.
And Al Horford said to us in another question we asked him, this is the team we wanted to play. We wanted to play Orlando, beat them 3 out of 4 during the season. They come into this series, JB, with a lot of confidence, and winning game 1 in Orlando only took that confidence up another notch.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you got to think pride is going to sneak in after what happened last year. You mentioned it. 25 points a game they lose by in the second round sweep. And these guys have some pride, and they feel good about themselves. And they're not disappointing as Joe Johnson knocks down the long 3.
Good ball movement by the Hawks. The assist to Zaza Pachulia, extending the Atlanta lead to 7.
You see that possession, side to side, 4 people touch the basketball, not isolation basketball. They've got to move this thing from side to side, make Orlando work, and they're going to get any shot that they want.
J.J. Redick, yes.
This is an important player to me. I felt last year he was their most consistent player in the playoffs. He's a guy that can knock down shots. We know about that, but he plays excellent defense, very underrated defender, and he missed 17 games with an abdominal strain. Didn't play. He hadn't played in over a month.
Yep.
And his first game was playoff game number 1.
Boy, Horford not messing around at all. Just bullying his way into the paint, possession after possession.
Oh, I love Al Horford. You know, this team always questions about their toughness. Never question the toughness of this guy here. And, you know, he's doing this for his team. And this is for his team. I'm not going to back down. Get on my shoulders, guys. We're not going to let this team push us around. He's been in the paint throughout this first quarter, playing tough, gets himself to the line here, making some easy baskets down low. Al Horford, you got to love everything about this kid.
You can make a case that had Horford not gotten into the foul trouble in a game 2, got 2 fouls in the first 2 minutes and 10 seconds of the game, and Larry Drew, as has been his custom for much of the season, sat him out for the rest of the first half. Did not bring him in until the second half, and that's when the game kind of turned in Orlando's favor.
A lot of people question that move. Now, I'm okay with that in the regular season, but this is the playoffs, and you sometimes have to take risks. You can't have arguably your best player on the bench for that long in a playoff game.
Redick again. J.J. Redick with his first 3 of the series.
Well, that's what you lose when Kirk Hinrich goes out of the ball game. Well, Jamal Crawford, not known as a defensive player. That's 2 straight good looks for J.J. Redick.
Jeff Teague is in off the Atlanta bench. His first appearance in the series. Didn't play at all in game 1 or 2. Marvin Williams with a foot on the line. The long 2.
That's poor defense. The Orlando Magic intentionally coming off Jeff Teague to go ahead and take the ball out of Al Horford's hands. You do not leave Jeff Teague. As Quentin Richardson knocks down 3, I'm sorry. You do not leave Jeff Teague to go to another player. I mean, you need him to shoot the basketball. I'm sorry, I think I'm saying that incorrectly there. You leave Jeff Teague, you don't run off with another shooter. That's what they did. I'm sorry. I'll get it clean.
After the 3 by Quentin Richardson, Orlando back within 2. Atlanta 25, Orlando 23. Teague the miss. And the rebound eventually winds up with Ryan Anderson.
That's a better job there. You don't rotate to Teague. Make him be the player to shoot the basketball. That is by design. That's good Orlando defense.
Again, no double team on Howard. Now here comes the help. And it's going to be a reach-in foul on Teague. And the Hawks are over the limit, so back to the line again goes Dwight Howard, who in the first 2 games of this series attempted 41 free throws and made 29 of them, 71%. Just 60% during the regular season.
You know how many free throws the Hawks attempted in those 2 games? 46.
Really?
And you hate to foul him when he's just dribbling the basketball. I mean, you know, no need to foul there. Teague drops down. Make him make a move. That's the way you're going to play it. Make him make shots.
Howard makes them both. And we are tied at 25. Here for the closing seconds of the first quarter. Crawford with the ball for Atlanta. Redick on him. 3 seconds. Crawford hands it off to Horford. Rejected by Howard at the buzzer.
3 years in a row. The defensive player of the year. That is some kind of block from the weak side. As the Magic close the quarter on a 10-3 run to get this thing tied going into the second. But your defensive player of the year, oh boy, was that special.
So we're all tied up at the end of 12 minutes here at Phillips Arena.
Welcome back to Atlanta. I'm here with Orlando coach Stan Van Gundy. You've got 6 players who have scored for you already. To what do we credit the offensive balance that you've had so far?
I don't have any idea, Rick. I mean, we've gotten shots. We've had shots in game 2, and we didn't make them. Our problem right now is at the defensive end, we're not doing much.
And I was just going to say, they're shooting nearly 60%.
We're not doing much down there. We're not. We're not into the game. Our effort's way down from game 2. It's not going to get us a win.
What do you have to change outside of the effort?
That's it right there. You got to get up, play people, be quicker to everything we do.
Thanks, Dan.
Well, he's not going to like that basket by Zaza Pachulia in that typical coach fashion, preaching effort, defense.
But
Ryan Anderson the foul.
I think he's got to be extremely happy that in their 9 field goals, they've had 7 assists. As a team that had 12 assists a game in the first 2 games, 24 assists. Obviously, they're not making shots. That's why the assist number's down. But excellent ball movement. Dwight Howard was key. 7 points on the interior. But J.J. Redick, a welcome sign. Jason Richardson knocking down some shots. So he's got to be happy on that end.
Howard on the bench, something that didn't happen at all in game 2, and he only missed 2 minutes in game 1. So probably not there for long, but a much smaller lineup for Orlando. They really don't have a true backup center since the trade of Gortat. So Brandon Bass, probably the bulkiest guy they've got on the court right now, as Redick draws the foul. Let's listen in to Orlando coach Stan Van Gundy in a recent huddle.
We did a good job getting back into it. Our defense and our intensity is not up where it needs to be.
You can never question it. Yeah, you can never question Stan Van Gundy's intensity. Oh, it's great. I'd like to just listen to him for the whole game. That'd be terrific.
I don't know if Monty McCutcheon wants to listen to
Stan
Van
I don't
Gundy
think
all
so.
game, but
And I don't know that their players like to listen to him for all the game.
Redick 1 of 2, an 88% free throw shooter. We missed the first. Orlando down a point. We're a minute into the second quarter. Here in Game 3, the pivotal Game 3, as John Barry likes to say, because the team that wins this game wins what percentage of the series?
I believe 70.
Crawford right around Quentin Richardson for the layup.
I really do believe whoever wins this game tonight is going to win this series. Well, that's maybe a little early to tell, but I really do believe that.
Atlanta winning by 10 in Game 1. Orlando winning by 6 in Game 2. Redick over Johnson. And Pachulia the rebound. Jason Collins back on the Atlanta bench after leaving the court for a couple of minutes. Crawford, look at the crossover. Johnson driving on Redick. Again, the teardrop goes.
Well, no Dwight Howard on the floor. Take the ball to the basket. You're the Atlanta Hawks. They didn't get to have that luxury in Game 2. Like you said, he played 48 minutes. But certainly right now, you want to attack the interior. No shot blocking for the Magic.
And Stan Van Gundy said, I'll keep asking Dwight if he's tired, and I'll take him out if I feel I need to. He asked him a few times in Game 2, and Howard kept saying, leave me in. Third foul on Marvin Williams. He goes to the Atlanta bench. Al Horford back in. A very big Atlanta lineup right now, as big a lineup as they can play against a very small Orlando lineup. Really a size advantage, JB, for Atlanta at every position.
Yeah. You got to get the ball inside to Al Horford here, I would think would be your matchup.
Swing it around. Josh Smith just inside the arc. Not a great possession considering the mismatches.
That's one of the problems with this Atlanta Hawks team. You have to recognize, as Ryan Anderson launches a three, you've got no Dwight Howard. Get the ball to the basket. Settling for Josh Smith on the three-point line jump shot is the worst shot you could get.
Nelson tries to split the defense over Pachulia. A tough layup.
Oh, great finish there.
First points of the night for Jameer Nelson. Pull up by Crawford.
Another rush, difficult shot. No passes in. Get bailed out by an offensive rebound by Josh Smith. But no passes into that possession. A one-on-one isolation. You can get better than that. Take your time. Value the basketball. Value every possession. Don't settle for shots. Get the ball to Horford. I mean, you remember what Horford did in the first quarter. This guy was... Ryan Anderson cannot guard him on the interior. You have to have some recognition. And when you don't have a true point guard out on the floor, that's what happens.
They still do take advantage of the absence of Howard. The Hawks have stretched the lead out to 5.
ESPN's presentation of the NBA playoffs. Brought to you by Kingsford Charcoal. Slow down and grill.
Early in the second quarter. This is Game 3. The series is tied at 1. Game 4 will be here at Phillips Arena Sunday night. You can see that game on TNT. Game 5 Tuesday in Orlando. Game 6, if necessary, back here Thursday night. And Game 7, if necessary, would be a week from tomorrow in Orlando. Some great former players are in the house tonight, including the legendary, incomparable Dr. J. Dominique Wilkins as well. You're talking about two of the top athletes, JB, really, that this league has ever seen in Julius Erving and Dominique Wilkins.
I'm surprised you didn't throw me in that list.
Well, we just didn't have enough time to get to it, I know.
Dr. J, obviously a pioneer. He's a guy that took basketball to a new level, the high-flying act. Obviously, so many kids' heroes, one of mine. And Dominique Wilkins, so many great years here with the Hawks. You remember the great battles with the Boston Celtics. He and Larry Bird going at it. Two top 50 NBA players of all time.
That foul on Zaza Pachulia, his first. Redick takes the bump, leaves the floater short. Crawford the rebound. Here come the Hawks. Crawford, Johnson, Smith, Horford, Pachulia for Atlanta. Again, a size advantage at almost every spot as Crawford hits the three. Dwight Howard, by the way, has returned for Atlanta after sitting out the first 2:51 of the quarter. Now a steal. And Johnson, the foul call on J.J. Redick. He didn't like the call, thought it came a little late. Crowd's a little fired up right now, JB.
It is. It is. That's what great defense will do. Great hustle there by Horford, getting on the deck, stealing the ball from Nelson. But how about this Jamal Crawford? I mean, you talk about instant offense. The microwave, Vinnie Johnson, this guy will come out and just get it going. He's playing with supreme confidence. 2 huge games in the first 2 of this series. As we're going to get, I think, a breakaway foul. Joe Johnson ahead of Redick on that as he bumped him. We're going to take a look.
And if that's the decision, 2 and the ball.
Well,
if it's a clear path foul.
Yeah, clear path, right. Jamal Crawford, 50 points scored with 3 different NBA teams.
And an NBA record 33 4-point plays. Here's a look at the replay. There's the bump. And
I don't know.
The whistle doesn't blow actually until they get their legs tangled up and Johnson stumbles.
I don't think that's going to be a clear path. I think he's level with the basketball. I don't think he was clearly behind him. He didn't reach out and try to grab him. We'll get a great look here. Yeah, no, that's going to be just that's going to be a clear path foul.
They did call it a clear path.
That's not what you saw?
Wow.
Isn't that what you saw?
Way to dance on that one, JB.
I'm surprised. I thought he was certainly at the level of the basketball, not behind it. I have to throw my challenge flag out on that one.
Johnson misses the first. Turkoglu and Jason Richardson have both come back into the game now for Orlando. J.J. Redick has gone to the bench. Orlando, of course, a team that's been to the NBA Finals. They've been to the Eastern Conference Finals. Johnson misses them both.
Wow.
And now Orlando here really in a tough fight just in round 1. Here's Larry Drew, Atlanta coach, in the last huddle.
And you guys can clearly see what's open. When we swing the ball and we attack off the dribble, they're having a hard time on their closeouts, okay? So let's keep swinging it and let's keep attacking.
And that's what you've talked about. When they're bad shots or isolation is not working, when they move the ball, they're getting some pretty good looks.
And particularly when Dwight Howard's not in the game. He's not in the game for 3 minutes. Every shot you should have is in the paint. They've done a nice job. 11 of their 16 field goals have come in the paint, outscoring the Orlando Magic 22-12.
Pachulia, a nice move to look off the defender, but then he missed the jumper.
Not so sure I want Zaza Pachulia jump shots. What a great catch.
Howard gets it back, misses the shot. No other blue jerseys anywhere near the paint, so the Hawks come out with a rebound. Crawford, tough shot.
You can't take that shot.
Yeah.
I know he just hit a 3. He's a high volume shooter. He's a guy that can get red hot and score a ton of points like we talked about, but you gotta get good shots every time down.
Meanwhile, Orlando, they go to a perceived advantage, and that's Jason Richardson posting up on Jamal Crawford.
Yes, no question about that. Richardson can post up. He can take you from the dribble. More of a spot up type shooter, but a capable player in the post as Jamal's pleading his case with Leon Wood.
Richardson averaging better than 15 points per game during the regular season. Just 6 points per game in the first 2 games of this series. What an X factor he and Turkoglu could be for the Magic here tonight and beyond in this series.
Jason Richardson, a free agent. Be interesting to see where he ends up next year. Heard some talk about the Chicago Bulls.
Wow.
Jason Richardson, they do have some money to spend.
Yeah.
Imagine that. That's a team we're going to see a link along with the Miami Heat battling for some Eastern Conference championships in years to come.
Great series between Chicago and Indiana. We were lucky enough to do game 1. The Bulls are up 3-0, but all 3 games have been really exciting and close games. Indiana's been in all 3 of them. Johnson behind the back in some trouble. Shot clock running down, and they don't get it off. Shot clock violation. Larry Drew, first year as the head coach here in Atlanta, an assistant under Mike Woodson the last 6 years. And they've tried to change the offense a little bit. The Heinrich trade has changed them a little bit, but really the core of Horford, Johnson, Smith, these guys have been together for a few years. It's time, right?
Yeah, well, it's time to break it up if they don't get through. I mean, haven't won a second-round playoff series with this group.
Haven't won a game in a second-round playoff series.
So it's time.
Lucky bounce there. Atlanta had a couple earlier. That time it goes Orlando's way, and Richardson lays it in.
Again, the offensive rebounding, a big advantage for the Orlando Magic. 20 in the last game. And another second chance point there.
Timeout Atlanta. The Hawks lead has been cut down to 4 midway through the second. Kevin, thank you. And the NBA playoffs continue Sunday on ABC with the Heat taking on the 76ers at 1 Eastern, the Celtics and Knicks, and what's going to look like an elimination game for the Knicks the way things are going right now. Looks like both of those series will be 3-0 heading into Sunday. The Buick Regal NBA Countdown featuring John Barry begins at 12:30 Eastern time. Anything surprise you about these two series? You think they'd be closer?
No, I felt Boston would win this series easily. I know they weren't playing well. I thought the Heat would win this series easily as well. And they're on a collision course, obviously, to meet in the second round. Obviously a good sign for the Celtics, obviously playing well tonight in the Garden. I just have a feeling they're going to crank it up. You look at the pedigree, you look at the guys they have, they're too good.
Yep.
They still can do it. I still believe they can muster it up, and I still think they're coming out of the East.
The winner of this series would likely, of course, play Chicago up 3-0 on Indiana right now. Heinrich back into the game. Finds Johnson, who misses the shot. Horford misses the follow. Rebound Howard.
Oh, what a rebound.
6th rebound of the night for Dwight Howard. He's had 19 rebounds in each of the first 2 games of the series.
Well, we talked about the Hawks and the shot selection. They're 11 of 13 inside the paint and just 5 of 18 outside the paint. Continue to go in there.
Howard, they go into him a little bit strong. Rebound Pachulia. Howard asking for a foul. Johnson hits Smith, who runs into his own man in Pachulia.
He's saying Hedo Turkoglu pushed Pachulia into Josh Smith.
Either he pushed him hard or Zaza's getting a little acting credit there.
Vlade Divac would be proud somewhere if he's watching.
Nelson on the bench for Orlando. So again, on offense, Turkoglu is the point guard. Heinrich using the screen. And a loose ball foul on Orlando. It'll be on Dwight Howard.
Yeah.
His second.
Now, what do you do if you're Stan Van Gundy here? 5.5 to go. Well, I guess you got to leave him in the game.
Yep.
You know, the beauty, it would be nice if Atlanta had somebody they could go to against Dwight Howard. They can't make him work on the defensive end. They just don't have a center that's capable of taking him inside of the post to try to get him in foul trouble.
Joe Johnson gets a clean look. 13 now for Johnson, the lead back to 6.
Dwight Howard's kind of like a free safety down there. He's able to come for weak side blocks. He's obviously going to be a monster on the glass because they've got nobody that can make him pay. As we're going to get a block there, Josh Smith. Pretty easy call.
And you've got to like the aggressiveness of Turkoglu when he's been the point guard tonight. Or point forward, whatever you want to call it. When Nelson goes out, the ball's in Turkoglu's hands.
Well, when this team made their run to the finals a few years ago, I thought he was the most important player. He's a guy that can score the basketball, average about 16 a game, but he was their best playmaker. Jameer Nelson, not a true point guard playmaking type. You know, he's more of a scoring point. And so I think that's why this trade was made. They certainly thought Arenas could give him something. He's clearly not been able to do that. It's been a disaster for that trade. I think physically he's limited. The knees surgeries have bothered him. But Turkoglu, I think the main player that they thought could regain some of his form from a couple years ago. And he's shown signs, but he hasn't been consistent.
And Chris Duhon, their number 3 point guard, is in street clothes tonight with a sprained ankle. So they've only got 11 players dressed. And if Arenas is not a factor, then it's just Nelson and Turkoglu as guys who are really going to handle the basketball. Heinrich hit one in the first minute of the game from there, and he does it again here.
Well, you're double teaming Joe Johnson because you don't have faith that Jason Richardson can handle himself in the paint. Leaving Kirk Heinrich, he's been getting to the open spot, the open areas. We see a great block by Pachulia. Spot up, be ready to shoot the basketball. Heinrich, no hesitations, knock down a couple.
They love Zaza here in Atlanta. He's given them some big minutes, especially with Collins apparently favoring a sore back. There's Josh Smith with a rejection at the rim.
Orlando just 2 of 11 in the quarter as Turkoglu to the hoop again. He can't finish.
Again, as you mentioned, it's the defense of the Hawks that's given the crowd the energy here tonight. Johnson feeling it right now. Largest lead of the game for the Atlanta Hawks.
The timeout, this team, again, we mentioned, feed off of great plays. A great block on the other end by Josh Smith. And Joe Johnson makes it pay on the other end with the easy jumper.
Joe Johnson having a big night. 15, and Atlanta's got a double-digit lead. Oh, it is all working right now here in Atlanta. The Hawks lead the Magic by 10 here in the game 3. The series tied at 1 apiece. NBA playoff action continues on ESPN tomorrow night with a pair of game 3s. It'll be San Antonio and Memphis. That series all tied up at 1. And then the Thunder head to Denver with Oklahoma City up 2-0 on the Nuggets. The NBA playoffs on ESPN, home of the Western Conference Finals. How about Memphis? Huh? How about Memphis?
They're giving the Spurs all they can handle. Really played well in game 2 after stealing game 1. San Antonio has their hands full, and very surprised Oklahoma City took it to Denver like that in game 2. But I fully expect Denver to bounce back at home. They're going to get that game.
Howard defended by Pachulia. A little bit of help from Johnson leaves Richardson open. Atlanta ball.
Atlanta doing a nice job. They're not giving Dwight Howard a steady diet. It hasn't been just strictly one-on-one. They're getting some digs down there. Guys are coming at times, a little double team, just to mix it up. Don't let them feel comfortable down there.
And what Stan Van Gundy says is such a problem is Atlanta's so big, so long, that they can recover out to the three-point line quicker than most teams.
Right, exactly. And this
Johnson.
guy's got it going.
Wow.
This guy's got it going here. Again, on the attack, get the ball into the paint.
He must have heard you say before the game, hey, they need more from Joe Johnson.
Yeah, he's just got to be the superstar guy. I mean, I know he's not going to be a vocal leader. He's not going to be ramping up the crowd out here and jumping around and showing great emotion, but got to at least play that way.
He's their #1 guy. Got paid like a #1 guy in the offseason, and he and Horford really the two pillars of this team, and Johnson's got 17 points here in the first half.
A little heat check there, tough fadeaway jump shot. Good defense by Richardson, but you can live with that. You got your guy going. You got to give him the liberty to take a few shots that maybe are questionable.
Bass rejected by Horford. Nelson, the kick. Turkoglu for 3.
Boy, he can't buy one.
Richardson for 3. They can't buy one right now.
That's
been
a good
more
shot.
than 4 minutes since they made a field goal. Joe Johnson, JB, though, a whole different story. Getting the ball inside, really getting his work done.
Yeah, he's on the attack. How about the cradle here as he goes into the lane for the beautiful teardrop over the outstretched arms of Richardson. And the Hawks looking good here, up 12 in the first half.
And the Atlanta Hawks doing their fair share as well. Up 12 points, some really good defense. Orlando's gone cold as we take a look now at our Sony big picture, and the big Shamrock, whatever you want to call him, Shaquille O'Neal, they seem to be doing fine without him. Right?
I call him Mike Wilbon because he's given him 5 good minutes in about the last 2 months.
How about this guy? A little bit more than 5 good minutes, huh?
4 for 18 last night, but the 4th one, a game-winning layup. The guy is just unflappable.
And Miami, a big game 3 from the big 3. They're up 3-0 on the Sixers.
Very impressive, but as the competition gets better, don't expect them to be combining for 60, 70, 80 points. They're going to have to get contributions from a lot of other players.
Looking like a Miami-Boston second-round matchup. The Celtics still up big on the Knicks in a game 3 over on ESPN. Heinrich with a little fadeaway. Largest lead of the game right now for Atlanta. They're on an 11-1 run.
Well, how about this Orlando team not getting it done on either end? They're 2 for 17.
Shot at Howard, and Powell 6'9", 240. Not nearly the size that Collins and Pachulia have.
Well, you can bet he'll just wrap Howard up if he gets him in a spot too close to the basket. But Zaza Pachulia gave this team a nice lift.
Under 2 minutes to play in the first half. Orlando's played, this is their 7th game against Atlanta this year. They have not scored more than 93 points in any one of the first 6 games. Lost 3 of 4 during the regular season. They've split the first 2 here in this series. Nelson full head of steam all the way.
You can credit Dwight Howard with that. He's not going to get an assist, but 3 Atlanta Hawk players ran to Dwight Howard, and they didn't stop the basketball. Jameer Nelson gets the layup.
And it's down to 10.
A very important last minute here. You got to finish it out strong if you're the Hawks.
Smith, size advantage on Quentin Richardson. And the lefty up and in. Jason Richardson to Quentin Richardson for 3. They've got it down to 9.
Well, that's a couple for Quentin Richardson. Very unexpected. Played very little in the first 2 ball games.
Coming up at the Toyota halftime show, Kevin Connors, Chris Mullin, Jalen Rose. A nice start tonight in Game 3 for the Celtics over the Knicks, and a preview of the late game tonight. The Lakers in New Orleans. Look at Josh Smith. Oh, has the ball ever stayed up on the rim for so long? He was giving it all the body English he could, but to no avail. Got a switch on him. Richardson now. Jason Richardson wants to take Crawford down in the post. Crawford got a hand on it, but is called for the foul. Crawford thought he had all ball.
Again, good recognition. Jason Richardson had some success with Jamal Crawford into the post. Jameer Nelson took his time, got him the basketball, and it looked like Jamal Crawford had a lot of basketballs. We're going to see here. Yeah. You know, it's just when an official that's not in the right position makes the call, that's when you really do have a problem with it. I don't know that that was Leon Wood's call from that side. There was an official that was right there by the play, and that's what gets players frustrated sometimes, when you have an official that's right there and doesn't make the call. Someone from the other side of the floor makes it.
Stan Van Gundy takes Dwight Howard out with 24 seconds to go in the half. Well, it was 12 not that long ago. It's now down to 7. Orlando with a foul to give in the closing seconds of the half.
Yeah, you got to feel pretty good if you're Orlando. And you're shooting in the mid-30s again. But here you are in a 7-point ball game. Get a stop here, regroup, and be ready for that second half.
Johnson. Smith. Yes.
You got to live with that. Get the ball out of Joe's hands. If Josh Smith can knock those down, you got to live with it. And Nelson claiming he got fouled on his half-court attempt.
We're at halftime here in Atlanta, and the hometown Hawks have a 9-point lead, 51-42. Joe Johnson, the man of the first half for Atlanta, with a game-high 17. Relatively speaking, Dwight Howard held in check compared to what he did in the first 2 games. He's got 9 at the half. Rick Buchers with Joe Johnson.
Thank you. Joe, the last time you played here, not much atmosphere. You had some things to say about the fans. How do you feel about the atmosphere tonight?
I think it's great, man. We're feeding off the energy. As you can see, we're really getting up and down the court, man, and getting easy baskets. So we just got to keep playing hard.
All right. It feels the way you guys have played that this should be a more extensive lead. What do you have to do to tighten things up?
We just got to take care of the basketball. We've had a couple, turnovers. We just got to take care of the basketball and, just play a little harder in the second half. We'll be all right.
All right. Good luck in the second half. We'll see you then. Back to you, Dan.
Rick, thanks very much. Joe Johnson with 17 to lead the way for Atlanta. The Toyota halftime show's coming up. Kevin Connors, Chris Mullin, Jalen Rose. A look at the Celtics and Knicks, and also we'll look ahead to the Lakers and the Hornets. The series is tied as 1. This is a big-time Game 3 here in Atlanta. Dwight Howard doing what he can, called for a goaltending there. The Atlanta Hawks, though, playing hard tonight. They've got a 51-42 lead at the break on the Magic. Stay tuned for the Toyota halftime show coming up after these messages. Is presented in 3D by Sony. Back inside Phillips Arena, Dan Shulman and John Barry as the Atlanta Hawks make their way back onto the court. Joe Johnson with a big first half, 17 points to lead all scores. Atlanta looking for a 2-1 lead in the best-of-7 first-round series. Dan Shulman and John Barry. Let's take a look now at our Exxon playing with energy guy. Joe Johnson certainly has been that.
Well, we needed him to be a superstar if you're an Atlanta Hawk fan, and he certainly was tonight. He got it going early. He was terrific in Game 1, a subpar Game 2, but tonight he got where he wanted to get on the basketball court, knocked down his first couple jump shots. Very big for a guy that's a great scorer to knock down your first couple. Great confidence. He took the ball to the hoop. Runners, short jump shots, hit a 3. Joe Johnson, a difference maker in that first half. 3 assists to go along with that. He was the only player in Atlanta in double figures.
Dwight Howard has not had his way with the Atlanta Hawks tonight like he did in game 1 and 2. How come?
Well, very physical. They've decided to go one-on-one, but they mixed it up. It hasn't been exclusively one-on-one. They've had some people come down and dig. They've gone to straight double teams, got the ball out of his hands, and I think it's just been the physicality. Collins did a nice job early with him. Zaza Pachulia came in on pick and roll. Always keep a body on Howard. Some of the passes he got were not very good. And quite simply, they just made it difficult on him. Contested shots. Again, another poor pass there. Always contested, and they've done it without fouling. He's gone to the line just 5 times after being fouled 31 times in the first 2 games. They've kept him off the line here tonight.
46 points in game 1, 33 points in game 2, 9 at halftime here to game 3. Let's check in with Rick Bucher.
Thank you, Dan. I had a chance to talk to Stan Van Gundy coming out of the locker room. He said, number one, our defensive rebounding has to be better, and occasionally we are going to have to make an open shot. I asked him, how is it that you're still in this game with them shooting over 50% and you shooting under 40? He said, we're not. 9 points down, you double that, that's 18. That's a blowout. Dan?
All right, Rick, thank you. Well, these teams have shown a habit of the first 2 games of getting a lead, blowing the lead, coming back. It's been close between these two. Atlanta with a 9-point lead as we go to the second half. Game 3 in a series that's tied at 1. Game 4 Sunday night here in Atlanta.
Well, just a 17-point second quarter for the Orlando Magic. We're going to get Horford on the loose ball foul.
Going over the back of the Orlando defender. Al Horford started this game on fire. I mean, just bowling his way to the basket. 3 early field goals. Cooled off a little bit after that.
Well, but Orlando is going to have to pick up the energy level on both ends of the floor. You give up 26 points. You only score 17. They had 7 assists in the first quarter. They only have 8 now for the first half. Not moving the basketball well. Not playing with offensive energy at all.
Howard, left hand, got it. 11 now for Dwight Howard, and
like a double foul, I think.
Foul,
Bass
yeah.
and Horford.
Or is it Johnson?
Double foul.
No, you're right. Bass and Horford.
See him just get tangled. Horford looks like he just, yeah. I'll just tell them to play on and send them on their way. No problem.
Heinrich, nice step in, and a good recovery by Bass to come up with a block. Here comes Nelson. Jason Richardson comes up with his own rebound and misses the follow. Hawks ball.
Again, a pretty good look. An early transition 3, something Jason Richardson very capable of making. Unable to knock it down, and then the runner just squeezes out. Stay aggressive. Not a bad shot there for the Magic. Got to get Jason Richardson going, though. 3 of 7 in the ballgame.
Johnson with a little space, misses the long jumper. Nelson using the screen, keeps on going. Open man Bass, 17-foot jumper, in and out.
You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink, Dan. I mean, again, quality look.
Yeah.
Jameer Nelson penetrates, pulls the Steve Nash, dribbles around the key, and finds an open player. You just got to be able to knock that shot down.
Got to be driving Stan Van Gundy crazy. They're getting decent looks. Horford, no.
And Atlanta yet to take a good look here in the first 2 minutes of the third quarter.
Kind of an ominous sign, right? As Larry Drew told us this morning, they revert to form. They start standing around and going one-on-one a little bit too much, even though they're trying to get that out of him. Brandon Bass called for the travel.
Well, it was so important the first 5 minutes of each quarter. You know, you come out with a 9-point lead at the half. If you make the first run in the third quarter, a lot of times you could put the game away.
Yep.
You know, like Rick Bucher said, they go on a 9-0 run. It's an 18-point game, and you can do that in a couple minutes. Hawks 0 for 4 right now in this quarter.
We've had only 1 made field goal in this quarter. That was by Dwight Howard. Johnson to Josh Smith. Misses the jumper. Atlanta 0 for 5 in the quarter. Turkoglu out behind the defense. Lays it in. Second field goal for Turkoglu. And Larry Drew wants a timeout as the lead has been cut down to 5.
5 straight poor looks by the Atlanta Hawks. Now Josh Smith with a long 3 that leads to a long rebound, which gets the Magic out in transition. Richardson finding Turkoglu, who lays it in, and the Magic making an early run here in the third.
ESPN's presentation of the NBA playoffs, brought to you by Carfax. Free at your used car dealer. Just say, "Show me the Carfax."
Back in Atlanta, the Orlando Magic have cut the deficit down to 5. Dwight Howard getting so much acclaim for his offensive numbers here in this series, but how about winning the Defensive Player of the Year in the NBA for the 3rd consecutive year? The first player ever to do that. Huge block numbers and rebounding numbers year after year after year in the NBA. 6th season with more than 1,000 rebounds and 100 blocks. If he does it once more, he'll tie Moses Malone for the most ever in that regard. And Dwight Howard, needless to say, JB, he's got plenty of good years ahead of him.
Do you say he's the MVP, Dan? Or is it Derrick Rose?
Of the who should be the MVP of the regular season? If I had a vote, I would vote for Derrick Rose. With Josh Smith, the jumper. You can't change your mind from 4 days ago based on what he's done in the playoffs. You got to do it as you were thinking.
If he could have those first 2 games, maybe he would have garnered a few more votes. But I think it's Derrick Rose. But you can certainly make a case for Dwight Howard. The impact he makes on the defensive end for this team, not just the blocks and rebounds. He changes the game.
Draws the foul on Jason Collins, who has returned to the game here in the second half after injuring his tailbone in the first half. Here are JB's top 2 MVP candidates. Obviously, what Derrick Rose has in his favor is his team took a huge step forward in the number of wins. They're up to 62 wins, number 1 seed, and so forth, whereas Orlando actually took a step back in terms of their win totals.
Well, the jump when you go from 41 wins to 60+ is enormous as Jason Richardson finally knocks down a J.
They're right back in this game.
And they're right here down 4.
Got it from 9 down to 4 in the first 3.5 minutes of the second half. And Atlanta not taking very many good shots. They swarm Heinrich, 8 on the shot clock. And Smith leads Horford too far.
Another poor possession. Don't know that you want Josh Smith to be your post passer. But again, just looked like a discombobulated possession again.
In Atlanta this year, a very pedestrian 24-17 at home. The 2nd worst home mark of any of the 16 playoff teams, better only than the New York Knicks.
And the Knicks didn't disappoint tonight as they got trashed.
Yeah, blown out by Boston. Howard again with the left hand. 3 left-handed baskets for Dwight Howard tonight.
Well, here they are.
Can Atlanta respond?
Dan, maybe you should shoot free throws left-handed. Looks pretty solid.
He's doing all right with the right hand here in the playoffs, 70% or so.
Okay.
Shot clock at 3. Horford.
Again.
Howard the rebound.
Again, look at the shot.
Yep.
Not a shot in the paint in the second half. They were terrific in the paint. It's Turkoglu with the discard to get the shot, doesn't knock it down.
Collins holds off Howard for the rebound.
Joe Johnson's going to fix that. His first shot of the second half, but it's in the paint. I'm okay with that. You know, he was your guy in the first half. He got himself into a little bit of a rhythm, and he doesn't touch the ball in the first almost 5 minutes of the second half when your team's struggling. No excuse for that.
Orlando has never led in this game. They have trailed by as many as 14. Got it down to 4 right now. Bass goes around Smith and slams it, but wave it off. 24-second shot clock violation just before the dunk. And whatever Stan Van Gundy just told Hedo Turkoglu, he just told him twice. He better not have to tell him a 3rd time. Jason Richardson called for the foul. Boy, that's a big swing. They had that basket counted. More momentum, more energy for Orlando.
Well, it was a heck of a move. Well, let's see where the Hawks go on this possession. I mean, you got to get a quality shot. Post up to Joe Johnson. Here comes Dwight Howard over for the double team to force it out of his hands, and a Josh Smith 3 ball. Just
There are times when Josh Smith goes away from the jumper, and there are times where he just falls in love with the jumper. Last year hardly took any threes, but he went back to it again this season.
Well, you know, he just shouldn't be there. I mean, the guy's too athletic to hang out at the three-point line. If you're going to post Joe Johnson and he's on the weak side, dive to the basket. Get yourself in an offensive rebounding position. This is a guy that should have 4 to 5 offensive rebounds a night. He's as good an athlete as anybody at his size in the NBA.
Jump ball with 5 on the shot clock. Still loose. Atlanta comes up with it. Johnson for 3. Collins the offensive rebound. Scrambly play. Bodies all over the place. And now finally,
oh my goodness,
Nelson runs into and over Jason Collins, and Jameer Nelson called for the foul.
What's going on here?
That was crazy.
A rugby match is broken out. Australian rules football, if you like. But how about Jameer Nelson? He's just going to run right over Jaron Collins. What? I didn't tell. What are you talking about, Jameer? You're a pretty stocky young guy there. I mean,
he's got a fullback's body.
Yeah. Jeez. He just ran right over him.
Boy, it is getting physical. Heinrich. Good help by Bass. Shot clock running down again. Heinrich for 3. We've played 6 minutes in this quarter. Atlanta has scored 4 points. Orlando has 9. Howard. Orlando has 11.
Boy,
Magic within 2.
That is just pretty. I mean, he just takes his time. He's composed. He used to be a guy that would decide what move he would have before he got into it. You know, he's predetermined. Now he can feel the contact, spin one way or the other, left hand, right hand. Very impressive to watch.
The Hawks, meanwhile, not impressive. Just 2 for 12 here in the third quarter, and another possession with the shot clock running down and a forced shot. What has happened to the Hawks here in the third quarter?
You know, the ball, like you said earlier when Larry Drew said, we resort back to the way we used to play. One-on-one isolation basketball. And look, they did it a little bit in the first half. They got away with it because Joe Johnson and Crawford made a few shots. And then they fall into that trend, and this is what you get sometimes. Orlando's picked up the level of defense, and they can't get anything.
Turkoglu fighting around the screen. Nice kick to an open Bass, and the Magic have tied it. And we have some scattered booing here at Phillips Arena right now. The whiteout's not quite as much fun as it was earlier tonight. And there's another Orlando foul on Nelson.
But now you have to put Jamal Crawford into the game.
Well, if you're looking to spark the offense, this is the guy, right?
You know, you have to do that, but you lose defensively. You use your best defensive player in Kirk Heinrich.
J.J. Redick in for Orlando. Jason Richardson, or no, not Richardson. Jameer Nelson going out. So now Turkoglu again on offense will be the point guard. Atlanta 2 for 13 in the third quarter. A little bit better ball movement. Horford gets a decent look, can't make it.
Another jump shot, man.
Yep.
One shot in the paint, a Joe Johnson runner. Other than that, it's been all perimeter oriented, and they're certainly not getting it done.
Howard sizing up Collins. Howard again to the left hand, doesn't get the roll.
4 points in 8 minutes, Dan?
And a 9-point lead at the half is gone right now for Atlanta. Collins doesn't even turn to face, doesn't even look at the basket, gives it right back to Crawford. Crawford, the runner, yes. It had been 4.5 minutes since they made a field goal. Turkoglu. Bass settles for the long jumper, but he makes it to tie the game again.
You can just tell the execution of the Orlando Magic. They're getting whatever shot they want.
And Orlando stepped it up defensively too.
They have. I mean, give them credit, but Atlanta has certainly fed right into their hands. I mean, very few passes as Redick gets a transition three. Oh, it's in and out. Boy, that was down.
Transition now for Atlanta. Haven't seen much of this tonight. Smith and a foul. Atlanta can't get anything going in the half court. They get out in transition. Josh Smith restores the lead for the Atlanta Hawks, but it's been Dwight Howard going to town on the inside for the Orlando Magic. They were down 14 in the first half. They're down 2 right now. When the NBA playoffs continue on ABC, that both the Miami Heat and the Boston Celtics have a chance to eliminate their opponents and to move on to the next round. The NBA playoffs on ABC, home of the NBA Finals. Coverage begins with Buick Regal NBA Countdown at 12:30 Eastern, when ESPN ABC's most versatile basketball announcer will be back in the studio, caged up back in the studio.
Wilbon is terrific.
Yeah.
Wilbon, he does a heck of a job. He really does. If we can get him out of Chicago, the Blackhawks and Bulls, you know.
Hey, Blackhawks giving the Canucks a scare.
How about that?
Howard backing down Pachulia, who stood his ground and made it a little bit tougher on Dwight Howard.
Yeah, he got him about 7 feet away. That's the key. You got to get him out as far as you can. Make that jump hook a little bit longer. That time, good job by Pachulia.
Can Atlanta get a good look, get the ball inside, and get a high percentage shot? Howard with a rejection, just got a fingertip on it, his second of the night. Richardson muscling Crawford. Turkoglu for 3. Tied again.
2 for 8 before that shot was Turkoglu. But you take it in rhythm, and I've been watching Stan Van Gundy all night. Hito's passed up some shots, and he told him, shoot the basketball.
Kickball on Anderson.
Instilling some confidence in Hito, who's obviously struggling, but big shot there as we see Dwight Howard. You know what? It was a good block. It was relatively close to the rim, where a lot of times you do get the goaltending call, but that ball was clearly on the way up.
Marvin Williams into the game for Atlanta. Quentin Richardson, Jameer Nelson for Orlando.
Another post up. You see Dwight Howard coming over.
Good hands by Quentin Richardson.
5 seconds to shoot.
Atlanta with just 9 points here in the third quarter to the 18 scored by the Magic, who have never led in this game, but have tied it on 3 separate occasions here in the third. Crawford turns the corner, pull-up jumper. Rebound Magic, a chance to take the lead. Anderson. Well, he's usually a very good outside shooter, but he has not been making shots here in this series.
No, he's struggling as well. 40% on the year, shooting just 33% here in this series. So this is your guy right here. They're going single cover. You can go to him every time now.
Nelson the pull-up. And down with the rebound, Josh Smith.
And Nelson, the guy in the first 2 games, but really other than Howard, was the only guy that played decently, and he can't get it going tonight. He's 2 for 10.
And a defensive 3-second call. Technical foul. Jamal Crawford will shoot it for Atlanta.
So is this the Butler-UConn game here? Nobody can throw it in the ocean.
Boy, in the first quarter, both teams were well over 50%. Didn't turn the ball over, but I don't know if the defense is getting better or if the offense is getting worse. Here's Larry Drew in the last Atlanta timeout.
Once we swing it, we got to attack. Okay, we got to be ready to attack. Don't settle for jump shot. Attack, get into the paint, then drive and kick it, all right?
Just as you said, don't settle for jump shots. Smith doesn't settle this time and draws the foul. And if you're an Atlanta fan, that's an improvement.
Well, they're trying to just go simply straight down to Joe Johnson. And it's just too easy to double team that. Dwight Howard sliding over, coming outside the lane. And now what you do if you're J.J. Redick, you get right up into Joe Johnson, you force him right into Dwight Howard. He's got nowhere to go. And then you just get a lob pass across the court. You get yourself time to recover and get out there. And that's why Atlanta's just struggling to hit jump shot. They're getting contested jump shot after contested jump shot.
And that's another great aspect of Howard's games. For every shot he blocks, how many shots aren't even attempted or are altered just because of his presence in the paint?
Right. Well, Atlanta hasn't really taken the ball into the paint in the first 2 games. They've gotten in there a little bit more tonight. Dwight only had 2 blocks coming into tonight's game.
Somehow Atlanta has managed to hang on to the lead here in the third quarter. Nelson fadeaway over Johnson. Tough shot. Jameer Nelson to make it a 1-point game.
Oh, wow.
Crawford behind the back, off the glass, and good. There's your highlight play of the game.
Not a highlight for Quentin Richardson. But what a move by Jamal Crawford. Goes with the left hand around the back, gets the runner. Richardson coming over a little late. But what a move, Jamal Crawford. But again, if you're going to rely on a steady diet of runners off the glass and ones, you're in for a long evening, as they've had here in that third quarter with just, what, 15 points?
11 for Crawford tonight, averaging 24 in the first 2 games. And Orlando will hold with about a 2.5 difference between the game clock and shot clock. A foul to give for the Hawks. Nelson. Rebound Smith, taken away by Nelson. And he misses the 3 at the end of the third quarter. Not a pretty third quarter, especially for the Atlanta Hawks, but as poorly as they played, somehow they only lost 5 points off their lead. From 9 down to 4. Joe Johnson has been the guy to get the good looks, many of them for the Atlanta Hawks tonight. He's the high scorer for Atlanta. Dwight Howard at the defensive end and the offensive end, keeping the magic in it.
Welcome back to Atlanta. I'm here with Hawks coach Larry Drew. 12 points in the third quarter in game 2, 15 points tonight in the third quarter. What's the problem?
Well, just didn't come out with the energy. You know, we finished the first half, I thought, off with a lot of energy. We came out third quarter, we just didn't have the energy that we had the first half. We got to find some answers to that.
How do you do that in the fourth quarter? How do you get that energy back?
Well, we got to talk about it in the huddle, first of all. We got to get out in the open court more. When we don't get out and run, then we play half-court basketball, and we don't want to do that at home. We want to get out in the open court.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck down the stretch.
Now, there have been very few fast break points in this game. 8 for Atlanta, 6 for Orlando. And Atlanta especially has really bogged down in the half court here in the second half, scoring just 15 points in the third quarter. Still up by 4 as we go to the fourth. The foul on a Pachulia, his third. And Dwight Howard back to the line, already working on a 15-point, 10-rebound game, which, of course, pales in comparison to the monster games he had in games 1 and 2, but still a pretty good night's work. On the NBA playoff schedule, a doubleheader on TNT tomorrow. Game 4, Chicago, Indiana at 2:30. The Bulls up 3 games to none. Dallas leads Portland 2-1. Game 4 tomorrow at 5 Eastern. ESPN tomorrow night. San Antonio, Memphis, Game 3. That series is 1-1. Oklahoma City heads to Denver, up 2 games to none. That game starts at 10 Eastern. 1 of 2 for Howard. He is from Atlanta. Went to Southwest Atlanta Christian Academy. A lot of family and friends and demands and tickets, but he says, hey, he tries to keep that at arm's length, especially in the postseason. Jamal Crawford with a big basket for the Hawks.
You know, talking to him today, he really honestly believes that this team can win an NBA championship. I'm not in that same corner, but he honestly believes I want to win a championship. Oh, Jameer.
Big 3 for Nelson. Magic back within 2.
Well, maybe we'll see some shot making here in the fourth quarter, but if you're the Atlanta Hawks, I wouldn't rely on jump shots. You got to try to get this ball in the paint, find Joe Johnson as Josh Smith fires another one with 17 seconds to go, and Larry Drew shows his displeasure as Richardson. Oh my goodness, is that 3 threes for Richardson?
And the first lead of the night for the Orlando Magic.
Well, what an unexpected pleasantry there. 3 for 3 for Quentin Richardson off the bench.
They needed somebody to step up. They have not been making threes at their normal clip here in the series. Quentin Richardson's been the guy tonight. Joe Johnson baseline. And a bump by Quentin Richardson, and called for the block. Al Horford will come in, and Josh Smith, as you said, after that latest bad shot, goes out.
Well, here's what's happening, Dan. They're posting up Joe Johnson. And watch what Dwight Howard comes over. That's called a tilt. He comes out to the lane. There's nowhere to go. Quentin Richardson a little late on that play. But they're bogging up the lane. There's nowhere for Joe Johnson to go. Redick's doing a nice job of getting up into him. And the Hawks are not making him pay for 2 players coming over to the weak side. And here's another contested three-point launch.
But they get it back. Redick working really hard against Johnson. He's on Marvin Williams right now. Quentin Richardson's on Joe Johnson. Pull up by Johnson. Orlando ball.
Another isolation set there. Jump shot.
Crawford knocks it away. Crawford gets it back.
Ooh,
and he is wrapped up hard.
I thought that was going.
Ryan Anderson with the foul.
Well, we heard Larry Drew talk at the end of the quarter about we want to get out and run and get in transition. Rarely does that happen in the playoffs. And if you're going to rely on just getting out in transition and getting easy opportunities, you're fooling yourself. You've got to get better in the half court. I talked in the first half about valuing each possession, not turning it over, which they've done a great job of doing, getting quality shots every possession down. And it's just time and time again we see him resort back to being an isolation team. The ball stays on one side of the floor, no movement, no player movement, no ball movement, and they struggle to score.
Maybe it'll change with Kirk Heinrich about to come back into the game. 1 of 2 for Crawford. We've seen Crawford in for Heinrich at the point guard spot, but we haven't really seen the two of them playing together. For most of this series, Joe Johnson's been playing the 2 spot.
Right, they play big. I'm assuming that Heinrich's going to come in and they're going to go back to small ball as Nelson misses the layup.
Crawford over Redick, another tough shot. So many of the Atlanta shots have come either very early in the shot clock or very late when they're forced to put it up as Crawford bumps Redick. Don't just listen to NBA talk, see it. Track the Facebook NBA trends and chatter on NBA Playoff Pulse, only at NBA.com/Playoff Pulse. Joe Johnson out. Crawford and Heinrich in the backcourt together.
So they do go to the small backcourt. You know, Jamal Crawford again, right there. It's just too quick. It's a contested shot. You're not in rebound position. Al Horford did get the offensive board, but you got to get quality looks, and they're just not able to do it. Is
too easy there.
The white sea parts as Redick lays it in. Orlando playing with more composure, getting better looks, running their offense a lot better right now than Atlanta is. Yeah, well, you know, you always talk about energy and people think it's about defense. It's offensive energy too, and the Hawks just simply don't have it. 24% here in the second half they're shooting the basketball. Crawford, tough floater, wide right, rebound Howard. Taken away though by Marvin Williams. Got some mismatches. Horford defended by Redick. Here comes Howard to help. Marvin Williams kicks it to Crawford. Got it! And he'll have a chance for a 4-point play. Nobody in the history of the NBA has made more 4-point plays than Jamal Crawford. He'll have a chance for one when he heads to the line coming out of the timeout. A desperately needed basket for the hometown Hawks that is putting them back in the lead.
I think the guys, along with myself and the NBA, are so committed to the communities that we live and play in because we were once these kids to be able to touch lives and get out there and make a difference means a lot to all of us. That means the world to kids. You know, that little small effect can last them a lifetime. I am Jamal Crawford of the Atlanta Hawks. On behalf of my teammates and the Hawks organization, enjoy the rest of the game.
One of the real gentlemen to sit and talk with before a basketball game as well. Jamal Crawford, what they love about him right now is the three-point basket heading to the line. The all-time NBA record holder in 4-point plays. It's a record that means a lot to him.
Reggie Miller was such a great shooter, and he was known for it. I think kicking out his leg a little bit. Don't tell him I said it, but he got the call for whatever reason, you know. And for me, I do it a little bit differently, but it's worked out for him.
His first career playoff 4-point play, 33 of them in the regular season in his career.
That was rather deceptive there since he didn't get touched. He fell awfully nicely.
He's got all 7 Atlanta points here in the fourth quarter, and that's what he's in there for.
He's a big-time scorer. You know, what a luxury to have a guy come off your bench that can, you know, he put up 36 in a game off the bench this season.
Yep. So Joe Johnson remains on the bench right now. Marvin Williams is in at the 3 spot. Nelson a miss. Rebound Marvin Williams.
What a tough shot there. Nelson just 1 of 7 now from the 3-point line. 4 of 16 in the game.
Crowd really back into it now. Horford driving, finishes. First field goal since the first 4 minutes of the night for Al Horford. Ooh, and Zaza Pachulia better be careful to not pick up a technical as well, saying he got elbowed by Dwight Howard. Number 4 on Pachulia.
Well, here he is. He's in good position, shoving him out, and you know, Dwight raises his arm a little bit. We've certainly seen a lot worse than that. Dan and I going over our pregame stuff gets a little more physical.
You still got the sharp elbows, you know, after all these years.
I mean, please. Zaza is used to a lot more contact than that.
You're right.
We fight over the bill harder than that.
I didn't fight too hard last night.
No, you didn't. Alligator arm. All right, here we go, Hawks. Let's see if we can get some better offensive possessions. Credit them for still being up 4. They haven't totally lost their composure. Back to Horford.
And a foul. Jason Richardson, I believe, coming down to help. Well, it's called on Bass, his second, team 4th.
You mentioned Horford hadn't scored since the first 4 minutes of it. He's really set the tone, I thought, for this game early. Getting the ball in the post, being real physical. They just haven't been able to go back to him. He's settled for jump shots himself.
Fade away over Bass.
It's just not his game. That's just not his game. He's not a back-to-the-basket player. He has not gotten better at that yet as Dwight Howard gets an offensive foul.
Zaza's fired up.
That's a tough call. Anytime a guy can just come out and plant in front of you as you're running down the court and you give him that call, very difficult here. You're just going to see Pachulia stop. They're running together and take a fall. You know, I just don't agree with the call. I mean, you can't let a guy just flop in the lane like that.
So you'd call that a block or no call?
It's a no call. If you choose to just jump in front of somebody and take a fall, you could do that anytime down the court.
The series tied at 1 after Atlanta split the 2 in Orlando. Horford with the jumper. Hawks by 6.
Well, credit the guy for the perseverance. He has not made a shot. That's his first jump shot of the evening. He was 3 for 10 before that.
Richardson open. Long on the 3. Boy, you don't see that with that good of a look very often from Jason Richardson.
How about the Hawks regaining control here, up 6? Be a big hoop here for Crawford.
As he draws another foul. The combination of Heinrich and Crawford together in the backcourt really working right now for Atlanta.
Well, they've gone small. Johnson back to the 3 spot where he does play a lot. Heinrich in there to defend Nelson. Crawford and Johnson, you're going to be your primary scorers, and now Horford getting it going as well.
And the guy who's not playing right now is Josh Smith, who's taken some bad shots tonight. Tonight was sent to the bench. And he's finding himself on the bench right now here in the fourth quarter.
Yep.
This is Game 3. Game 4 Sunday night here in Atlanta. TNT has that one for you. Game 5 Tuesday back in Orlando. Game 6 if necessary Thursday here at Atlanta. And Game 7 also if necessary of course in Orlando on TNT a week from tomorrow night. Kind of has the feel of a long series.
Yeah, I think so. But again, I really believe that if Atlanta can hold on and get this victory here tonight, they're going to be looking real good to get this series.
It's a 10-0 Hawks run. Bass has hit a couple and one more. 79-73. Tons of time left.
Well, that's a shot they're going to be able to get whenever they want. High pick and roll. Howard rolling to the basket. Obviously, you have to come collapse on him. 2 Hawk players do. And Bass pops open to the open area.
Crawford steps in and out. Rebound Bass. Jameer Nelson. And the foul on Heinrich, and he doesn't like the call. Free throws coming for Jameer Nelson when we return. Atlanta, though, finding a second win offensively. It started with Al Horford with a baseline drive. Jamal Crawford knocking down shots from the outside. Horford doing the same, and Atlanta's back on top. Over the Magic, Larry Drew preaching smart offense.
We gotta slow down and get good shots. Okay, we're rushing everything we do, and everything is a jump shot. All right, we gotta slow down and get the shot that we want.
And they've been doing a better job of that the last few minutes. Again, with a combination of Heinrich and Crawford together in the backcourt. But now Larry Drew's made a sub. He's made a change. He's brought Josh Smith back in. Crawford has gone to the bench. Johnson slides back to the 2-guard spot. Your thoughts?
Very interesting. You know, Crawford with a huge 4-point play. He's obviously a guy that can break down the Orlando defense, get into the lane. He's made some nice runners. He's been the best player for the Hawks in this series. Interesting here with 5 minutes to go. We'll see if that's just a quick break for Crawford and he comes back in. You go a little offense defense here in the last 5 minutes. Interesting.
Nelson at the line for Orlando. One of 3 Magic players in double figures tonight, along with Dwight Howard and Jason Richardson. Howard has 16 points, 12 rebounds, and 2 blocks tonight. So Atlanta's got to feel pretty good about that, considering he averaged 39.5 points and 19 rebounds in the first 2 games of the series. Smith thought about it. Yeah.
He remembered he was sitting on the bench for about 7 minutes before he launched that one.
Horford draws the double team. Smith might take it here. Open 3. Pachulia comes down with a rebound and is fouled.
You know what? That's not a really bad shot, but why is it Josh Smith there? Put a 3-point shooter right there. You've got Heinrich. You've got Joe Johnson on the floor. Put a shooter in that spot. You know, and if you're Josh Smith, get him on the weak side. Dive to the basket. Make 2 defenders come to you like 2 defenders have to go to Dwight Howard. He could be a monster on the weak side in the offensive glass. Don't have him being in the shooting position. You know, here's Josh Smith. Heinrich over here. Now, Jameer Nelson, he's not going to rotate over to Josh Smith. That's the right move. Make Josh Smith take the shot. But if you have Josh Smith on the weak side, you know, now you have a shooter. You have to get Orlando in a situation where they have to rotate.
Meanwhile, penalty situation already, and Pachulia knocks down both free throws. Pachulia much bigger than the 4 points and 5 rebounds would suggest tonight. This is where the real heavy lifting has been done. Defending Howard, who spins and finishes. What a pretty move.
You know, less than 5 minutes ago, I think you foul there. Pachulia has fouls to give. Go ahead and foul him. Wrap him up. Make him go to the line and get the 2. You cannot give him easy opportunities at the rim right now.
Pachulia right now with 4 fouls. Nobody else has more than 3 for Atlanta, so they're in pretty good shape. And an errant pass by Smith. And Larry Drew's putting Crawford back into the game.
Yeah, I think you have to. I mean, you can't have Josh Smith be your primary playmaker. You know, he's out there shooting. I mean, the offense has just been dreadful here in the second half.
Decent numbers for Smith tonight, but when you've watched the game, he's just looked out of sync most of the night.
You're right.
Again, Pachulia and Howard. Left hand. Good defense by Pachulia. Howard wanted the foul call.
That was pretty good D. There's some serious banging going on right there, Dan.
And there's no love lost between these two. A little forearm shiver at this end of the floor. Johnson with a stutter step. Howard got a piece of it.
Oh, great play by Richardson.
And it's Orlando ball. What a big play there. And here comes Crawford back into the game for the Hawks.
It's going to be Josh Smith.
Yeah, Smith just pointed at his chest and said, me? He's surprised he's coming out.
The decision making as we see Howard come over here. When you don't have somebody on the offensive end at the center position you have to worry about, like Dwight Howard, he can come over and get those blocks. He plays like a free safety down there. A terrific play there.
So Smith heads to the bench. Again, Crawford and Heinrich in the backcourt. 3.5 to go. Orlando down 4. Turkoglu's been quiet for a while.
Here's the high pick and roll.
Turkoglu driving, floater, followed by Howard.
Jeez. Engulfed by Howard. Oh, man, his head looked like it was over the rim.
And it's a 2-point game. Crawford around Bass. Crawford. Long rebound back to Pachulia. Under 3 minutes to go. Atlanta's gone 3 minutes and 45 seconds since making a field goal. Shot clock at 7. Crawford driving. Pull up. Follow no good. Howard down with a rebound for the Magic. The series tied at 1. Such an important game.
You can take a look at it later for review purposes for later on in the series.
Yeah.
And they were over there for quite a while. They saw a replay from every single angle. And Howard with the kind of follow-through forearm to get some contact to Pachulia. Started the whole thing.
So a free throw for Jamal Crawford. Now Dwight Howard gets 2 free throws because of the original personal foul assessed to Zaza Pachulia, and for the first time tonight Atlanta goes with neither Pachulia nor Collins in the game. Larry Drew, instead of bringing Collins in, and again his back was an issue earlier, Al Horford right now for the first time tonight is going to have to guard Dwight Howard.
He's got 3 fouls, and you like to play him straight up, make him take a tough contested shot as he misses the first free throw. And if he does get you in a position where he's going to have an easy one, a dunk or a layup, take the foul. Horford's got a couple fouls to play with here in the last 2:22.
Howard 4 for 8 from the line tonight.
But don't just take fouls to take fouls. If you're not in a bad spot and you can make it take a contested shot, go ahead and let him do that.
A 1-point game with 2:20 to go. The loss of Pachulia has also brought Josh Smith back into the game. Joe Johnson, the go-to guy in the first half, much quieter here in the second half, forces it up, and Orlando can take the lead. Cross-court look, Redick for 3, way short, and Nelson steals it from Crawford. What a heady play by Jameer Nelson, sneaking around.
Maybe too quick a 3-point shot there by J.J. Redick. Just a little bit off balance, but fortunately Nelson gets the ball back.
Pull up by Nelson, Magic on top. Oh. He's made some big shots.
Well, you got to applaud a guy that's 4 for 16 before that one.
Wow.
Raising up and taking a contested shot. Pretty good defense.
7 of his 13 points here in the fourth quarter. There's Johnson driving and fouled by Howard. Number 5 on Dwight Howard.
Well, good job there by Johnson to get to the basket. Don't settle for the jumper, but more importantly, get the contact from Dwight Howard. He goes right into Howard. You got to go into the shot blocker's body. You see that. He gets the contact, tries to finish. But if you just try to go ahead and float that, we've seen that before. Dwight Howard capable of going up and blocking it.
The NBA playoffs continue Sunday on ABC. The Miami Heat and the Boston Celtics will both be looking to move on as they take on the 76ers and Knicks respectively. It all begins with Buick Regal NBA Countdown at 12:30 Eastern Time. The NBA playoffs on ABC, home of the NBA Finals.
Couple big ones there.
And a 1-point lead for Atlanta. Orlando will take a timeout.
That's all we needed was a little fight, Dano. This is getting good.
Didn't feel like playoff basketball. A little sluggish, a lot sloppy. But boy, the temperature's gone up in this building a lot in the fourth.
Absolutely. Little fisticuffs can do that. Interested to see what Orlando does here. Do you go right back to Dwight Howard, risk him getting fouled, going to the free throw line? He's going to be capable of knocking down free throws. Or does he go to Jameer Nelson? Maybe a little high pick and roll, see if he can knock down another jumper. Just hit one on the last possession.
Atlanta by 1, Orlando ball. And for the first possession in the game, Al Horford covers Dwight Howard. It had been Jason Collins and Zaza Pachulia the entire night. If you just joined us, Pachulia and Jason Richardson ejected for fighting a couple of minutes ago. Turkoglu all the way around. Shovels it over to Bass, and the Magic are back on top.
Bass knocked down about 4 jump shots from about the same area this second half. Big time shot right there with under a minute to go.
Crawford finds Horford, and he answers for Atlanta. Wow. Back in Atlanta. A couple of big baskets in the last minute. First for Orlando. Hedo Turkoglu doing a lot of work with the basketball, finding Brandon Bass. He's made a few of these.
Well, Bass is going to be the guy open. 2 guys go to Howard because he's in the middle of the lane. You got to leave somebody, and Bass has answered the bell. And Crawford here finds the open Al Horford, who's come back. Disappeared for quite a while in that game. Hadn't scored since the first couple minutes of the ball game. But knocked down a huge jump shot right there.
The series is tied at 1. Game 3 here in Atlanta. The building alive here in the fourth quarter as the quality of play and the intensity of play have both gone way up. We've had 4 lead changes in the last minute. Bass back to Turkoglu. He's the playmaker right now. Shot clock at 10. He'll force it up. Rebound Smith. Just a 5-second difference. Game clock, shot clock.
Orlando's not fouling. Tough shot there, but
welcome back to Atlanta, where Jamal Crawford, who has been the offensive go-to guy for the Atlanta Hawks in this series, averaging 24 points per game in the first 2, and look at what he's done in the fourth quarter tonight, including a monster 3-point shot that he banked in with the shot clock running down.
How about that? Larry Drew, head coach, had him out of the ball game with 5:20 to go. And when this team struggled offensively, it was Jamal Crawford time, and boy, did he deliver there. As you said, better be lucky than good. But that's going to be the shot that gets Atlanta a 2-1 lead in this series. Who would have thought?
This is a guy who waited 10 years to get into the NBA playoffs, got in last year, said he's much more relaxed and confident going into the postseason for the second year here this season, and he just made an incredibly difficult shot to make it a 4-point game under 6 seconds to go. Orlando's out of timeouts. Redick, they'll give it to him. And the Atlanta Hawks defeat the Orlando Magic and take a 2-1 lead in the best of 7 with a hard-fought 88-84 win here at Phillips Arena. Rick Bucher's with Jamal Crawford.
Thank you very much. Jamal, take us through that last shot. What were you looking for?
I wanted to pick and roll, but they played it pretty good. I just wanted to get to my sweet spot. I'm comfortable going left, pulling up, comfortable going right, but I try to keep them guessing a little bit.
And so what was your thought as that ball was leaving your hand?
I felt like it had a chance. That was a little bit of contact. No call. I just tried to follow through as best I could.
If there's one thing that you can point to that won this game for the Hawks tonight, what would you say it is?
I would say our effort. Our effort and energy got the crowd into it, and when they're into it, I think we can beat anybody.
All right, congratulations. Phenomenal shot. 23 points. The last three were the biggest. Back to you, Dan.
Rick, thank you very much. A phenomenal fourth quarter for Jamal Crawford. 12 of his 23 points coming in the fourth quarter. Once again, he leads the way offensively for the Atlanta Hawks. One of the best 6 men of the NBA, leads them to a victory here in Game 3 as the Hawks beat the Magic 88-84 to take a 2-1 lead in the best of 7. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For John Barry, Rick Bucher, and our entire ESPN crew, I'm Dan Schulman saying thanks for watching, and so long from Phillips Arena here in Atlanta, where the Hawks have defeated the Magic 88-84. Now let's go to Kevin Connors in our ESPN studios.